Simon Cook,
well, things people see as Christian values, I kind of think are decent human values, not specifically related to Christianity. These are things we should strive for all the time. Turn the other cheek, love your neighbour, things like that. Nothing specifically Christian about things. They're all part of being a good person. And we promote these things by doing them ourselves. We be good people and try to show other people the way. We don't need to make Parliament more Christian. We need to make it more human, more in touch with normal people.
Well, I'm the greatest critic of Parliament and parliamentary habits, but I think I don't know of the erosion of Christian values that you suggest. I think the one that's thrown up is marriage between the same-sex marriage. But I'm going to assure you there were very many Christians in the House of Commons and House of Lords who were promoting this as a way of allowing people to live a fuller life and to make their own choices on the way they live. And it was seen as a liberating, not something that was anti-Christian, because I think the whole essence of Christianity is allowing people to live lives as they want, according to their ideas, and not to be imprisoned by restrictions on them that were unnecessary. But I think that, as far as religion is concerned, it's still very dominant in Parliament, and still in Christian traditions. We said prayers are said at the start of every day, and of course there's special rules to allow religious people to get places in the House of Lords.
Paul Halliday.
My kingdom is not of this world. I think, you know, I always, this may be unpopular, I don't know, I always find it worrying when we call ourselves a Christian country or a Muslim country or another country. You know, Jesus makes it very clear that his kingdom is not about this world, it is about another world. Well, if you want to talk about Christianity, if you want to talk about the growth of Christianity and the right of freedom belief, the time that Christianity is growing the most is times of persecution. You look at the growth of the church in China and in other places, you know. I'm not convinced that our rights and freedoms are being eroded at the moment. But again, I'm always worried when we talk about a Christian country, because I'm not sure I'm convinced it's the language Jesus would use.
Thank you. Pippa.
Well, when we talk about Christian countries, we seem to forget that Russia is also an Orthodox Christian country. And suddenly Russia is the enemy. So I think we ought to get our ducks in a row here and decide what we mean by Christianity and who our brothers and sisters are. I'd also like to make another comment about the House of Lords and the bishops who are given places there. They're not elected. They're not representative of the people. We need the House of Lords to be an elected house in order to have a real democracy. So I agree to have quite strong views on the upper house being fully elected. But let's think about all religions and find a commonality. Let's not start making divisions between us.
Nick.
I actually thought Paul made a very interesting point from a perhaps philosophical, maybe theological point of view. I have to say I'm quite comfortable referring to Britain as a Christian country, but a Christian country that is open to all. And I think we need to weed out a little bit the real stories and the stories that sometimes hit the tabloids. Winterville is always a famous example that Birmingham supposedly held, and I think it's fairly dubious as to whether that ever was anything other than something that actually was being called a Christmas celebration, if you actually visited it as opposed to seeing the headlines. But when there are stories as simple as nurses not being able to wear crosses, yeah, there's something that doesn't sit right with me with that. We're a country with our heritage and our roots in Christianity, and I think we're probably a better place for that. Well, I can't see a specific erosion at Westminster, with the exception, if you watch the Inside the Commons programme, where you then discover that all the people who claimed they were going to prayers were just trying to bag their seat for the rest of the day. I'm not sure there's a particular erosion at Westminster itself.